Welcome back to another episode of Queerpreneurs Unleashed, where we get to talk with rad 2S LGBT plus entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Dustyn Baulkham, and today we're recording on the unceded ancestral territory of the Silk Okanagan people. And we get, I get to chat with Jeremy, a friend of mine. Thanks for being here, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Our second take.
Second take. Did not have audio the first time around.
Yeah, I may have fucked up and had him muted the whole first time. And
it was a good producing decision, I think.
Yeah. It was our test run.
Dress rehearsal.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for a second attempt at this.
Thank you for having. I've been hounding you for this. I'm like, when am I going to be on it? I want to be on it. So it's like, take two, no problem. I'll be here all week. Yeah.
So introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah. So I'm Jeremy. Hi. I run Evolve Marketing. We're a marketing agency here in Vernon, although we work with people all over the world, which is awesome. I'm a gay man. And yeah, I just am really excited to talk about this queer entrepreneurial overlap, and glad it exists thanks to you.
Yeah, it's fun. Even people that I know well, I still get to know a lot more about them.
Mm-hmm. Not me.
Well, I mean, I don't know if previously we really talked about your coming out story.
No, yeah, that's
right.
Nice.
So I always feel like that's a nice place to start because you know some of us have been out for a very long time and some of us not so long. So yeah, tell us a bit about your coming out and what it was like.
Yeah. So I came out when I was 17. Always knew I was gay. Like right out of the womb, I knew. Should I do the patient story?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the patient story. This is a fun little anecdote. So I did have one girlfriend. Her name was Patience. It was in grade 2. And I remember like we hung out, I was like, man, I think she's super cool, blah, blah, blah. Did not want to kiss her on the face. Yeah, that was the excuse at the time. It really was in my favor. And then years later, I was telling my sister about it. I was like, oh, remember Patience? And she's like, oh yeah, that black girl you were friends with. I was like, she was black? I didn't know. So it shows how much I was paying attention to her. But all in all, always knew. And when I was 16, I was more out in school than I was at home, which was not at all. Loved theater. Was really hanging out with the theater kids. So pretty accepting group, if I do say. When I turned 17, decided to bring it out to my mom first. Sat her down, told her at the table, I'm like, hey, I'm gay. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I am 100% certain, yes. We sat down, talked through the night. I felt like it was a safe place to be because a lot of her friends growing up were the gay guys in the 80s in Newfoundland. I was like, she loves the gays. It's cool. So she took it well. She was surprised, which I always think is really funny. In hindsight, she's like, I was delusional. And then next day, she's like, when you tell your dad, it's like, okay, sat it down. It was a lot of emotions, but none of them were angry or hateful. It was really just, I think, like a shock to them. They had this perception of who I was going to be in their mind.
Right.
I don't think they realized that I can still be that person just with a man instead of a woman. And the journey, I'd say start to finish of like working through that emotions was like all of 6 months and that on the heavy push and 2 years on like the, many little perks after that. But all in all, my parents are my biggest fans right now. They love me, support me, love Ryan, my partner. Ultimately, it's a journey. You got to give them time to grow and learn. And I did. And here we are.
Because that reminds me of my nephews who recently moved to Calgary. I mean, they're 2 and 4. And my one went to his mom. She's like, Mom, there's a kid at school with black skin. And, Kim's response was just, he's like, any other kid? He's like, okay. It just shows that, kids learn racism.
Absolutely.
Right? Versus, in your point, you didn't even, didn't dawn on you.
Wasn't on the radar.
Yeah.
No.
It was just another girl.
Just another girl that I was not looking at for too long, but... Yeah. Wherever you are, Patience, I wish you well. I love your name.
It is. Yeah, that's. I don't know if I've ever heard someone with Patience as their name.
No, imagine she was really impatient though when she grew up. Like that would be like you really have to manifest that of yourself. I feel like.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you became part of like how Evolve began.
Yeah. So I've been working in marketing now for the past 7 years, I would say. Moved to Vancouver to start a career in marketing. I just always felt like the system of it didn't work for me at the end of the day. I found a lot of marketers were more looking to justify why things weren't working, or to put in effort in the wrong places all the time. And I just think I realized I'm not meant to be an employee working under anyone ever in this field. So I launched Evolve 2 years ago. Because we're insane people, my partner and I, we bought a house, quit our jobs, and opened our own businesses all in the same year.
See ya, leaving Vancouver.
Yeah, and previous to that, from Toronto originally, big smoke. Moving over,
universe.
Yeah, right. But it's been a journey in the sense that I didn't realize how much goes into running a business. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I'm already leading marketing teams. I'm already, working with clients one-on-one. I've got the full scale of it. But really, a business versus team is a whole new world of learning. I remember from my first end of year tax season, they're like, great, and now for your corporation tax? And I'm like, the what, now, who, where, when? Sorry? And they're like, oh, we tax you on your profits. So I'm like, I thought that was GST, girl. I thought you were getting your share already. Oopsie. Yeah, so some learnings. I've learned to hire the right people to do things that I have zero interest in doing, nor ability. And ultimately, today I work with some really amazing, talented professionals. We work with you on your marketing and a lot of new accounts coming into the fold this year. We love doing website design. We love social media. It's our bread and butter. But ultimately, I think we're just in this really cool space of being creative problem solvers. That kind of like left brain, right brain in unison is a bit of our, tagline we like to put out there. Yeah. But all in all, it's just really fun to do what I love every day. And also tell people what to do. I'm like, not really. I'm usually the one that sorts the spreadsheets and stuff.
Yeah, you're the master coordinator of everything.
Yeah, I don't think I ever left the marketing coordinator role. I'm like, I'll just organize this 4,000 row spreadsheet real quick. That's a good use of my time.
What would you say has been the hardest for you going from being an employee to an entrepreneur?
I'd say boundaries. For me, I've always been the type of person that I get like that little dopamine rush when I, check an item off the to-do list. And I think that I, more often than not, am struggling I have to say no to things. I have to cut off the workday at certain times. I need to be ultimately, I know, right? I know. It's hard when you love what you do because it makes it so easy to work till 9 p.m. But I have to remember I'm, in this first 2-year period, I'm building a foundation so then that flexibility will come. But it has to come because if it becomes a habit to always be working, you lose yourself. But also I love it. So it's hard,
It's a fine line.
It's a fine line. And Adderall helps. It really does. Prescribed Adderall. No, I'll show the label. Receipts, screenshots, timeline.
It's not like you're talking about, doing some type of illegal substance.
So. No, it's only 10 milligrams. That's like the baby dose. Yeah. One lesson too, I think for me is how busy I feel and the number of things I have going on. That's because I am leading and that's because I am the entrepreneur running it. So I always try to remember, in what I expect of others and on the team, it's like, just because I'm focusing on 80 things right now doesn't mean that I want anyone else ever doing that ever. I'm doing that so people can focus on doing 4 things really well and clear those through and do it. So I think the ADHD is hugely helpful there because juggling is something I love to do. I love to get 90 tasks half done.
I feel you.
It's great.
I was talking with my coach a while ago about how I feel like I'm my own worst enemy in terms of like completing things because I feel same thing. I like to get to about 90% and then it's that last little bit that I struggle with. And I mean, she asked me why. I'm like, I don't know. It's like finishing something and moving on just like is a boundary for some reason. And
starting's usually the hard part for most people is the interesting thing.
And I'm good. I'm like, I can start anything. It's like, because I'm, then there's like 3 million things going on. And I mean, our schedule, there is 3 million things going on. So
there are. There's 14 new brunches, by the way, for 2 months from now. Oh, and also there's going to be a bingo. And I know that Peak Pride, we said it was going to be 2 days, but it's actually be 19. But I love it, honestly, because I can see the work that you put in day into organizing things. They don't just happen. You've got to be talking to venue organizers, talent, getting it online. Like you wear a lot of hats and you talk to a lot of people in addition to needing to do all those tasks to create those opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, and what I think one thing I've learned, especially over the last kind of 2 years, is to be really selective in who we work with, both from talent to contractors to employees.
And I still made it.
Yeah.
Oh my! For now,
We're almost at a year, actually.
I know. This is my performance review coming out. Yeah. But it's a good lesson to do that, because I find, in that gut feeling you first get, where you're like, is this do I have a donkey?
Right.
Is this client a donkey? Is this employee a donkey? Am I a donkey? When you think you have a donkey, you've got a donkey 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. A real jackass.
A real jackass.
Well, and that's, I don't even know how to broach it. I mean, we're just talking about like clients and customers, because, you also got to know when to fire someone. Or if they, or if it's the other way around. I mean, it's there for a reason, because I know we've referred people back and forth, and
we have.
It can be challenging.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, a lot of amazing opportunities too, thanks to you. But few donkeys in the mix. But ultimately, I think even when it doesn't work out in an engagement, I'm still, regardless of how I'm like personally like mulling over this relationship as a business, I'm like, I'm going to do amazing work for them. Yeah. We're going to show up, get it done. Ultimately, I want to figure out what's wrong in the business.
Right.
And try to address it through effective marketing. That's the end goal of everything we're trying to do here. And sometimes you realize it's the owner.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Sometimes it's
really,
you. This is the situation where shit runs uphill, right?
Yeah.
When it's your baby, everything rolls up through you. As much as some people like to just pass the blame. It's up to us.
Yeah, I exclusively take on all the blame. Yeah. I'm like my team is perfect and amazing and wonderful people that never have made a mistake once in their life. So this is actually on like me.
In your 2 years with Evolve, do you have any moments where you feel like we're a big success or a highlight to you in terms of being an entrepreneur?
One I'm just really proud of is Vernon Pride. We got to work with Abby shout out Abby at Vernon Pride. They came to us. Ultimately, we're looking for some help with logo design, getting out of this Facebook place of a group only, and really reviving the organization. Year one, Sal was moving the charge forward. Abby jumped in and continued it, created the society from it, which is amazing. Yeah. And ultimately, we got to create a logo for them, a website for them, an event hub for them, and set them up with an email marketing system that let them be able to bring people together, and creating just like a safe space in Vernon for queer people. And, I see, a lot of the contact items coming in as I'm managing it, and some of these messages, it's just amazing to see people be like, how do I get involved? How do I help?
Right.
My stepson is gay and I want to support him. What events are coming up? And it's just amazing to see that in real time. And surprisingly, very little, next to zero stupid comments or mean messages. I mean, if there are, I'm not seeing them, but I'm not seeing any. And it's really cool to just foster those spaces. And that's something I'm really proud of. Also, all the money. mostly the fostering spaces. Yeah.
I mean, it's usually the things that are typically most rewarding are the things that pay you the least.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
As much as it's nice to land a big client or a big contract or whatnot. It's usually the impact. And a lot of 100%. Times there's not cash attached to that.
Well, one of our big pillars is we always want to be, which I don't think a lot of organizations can say in the first 2 years, but we always want to be prioritizing giving back.
Right.
So we've donated, for Wilm's Cancer Foundation, another thing I'm proud of, entire website to them for their new partner program. We now have remade their entire website and are getting ready to launch that in the next few weeks, which is very cool. It's just something that's so easy to do when you work with talented people that are also just amazing people, and finding these causes and things that we can donate our skills to and have it be something that we're, I've seen like many a time they're like, hey, I want to tackle this after work today. I'm like, you can use work hours for this. They're like, yeah, but I want to put in some of my own time for it. Right. I'm like, that's really cool to see. Yeah. And Lord knows I do it too.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah. So very, very cool to be able to give back. Yeah. And it should be a focus from day one. What can I do to benefit my community, the world as a whole? Big goal, but a good one to have. And my team.
Yeah.
And me. Where are my flowers? Yeah. The last is me.
Over in the window.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, the one's flowering.
Well, I got some roses. Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, Ryan got them for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. He was in trouble. Oh. No, he wasn't.
Just kissing ass.
Yeah.
So we talked obviously about Vernon Pride in terms of LGBT sense. Is there any other 2S LGBT plus initiatives that are really near and dear to your heart?
I think really right now I want to be focusing on more of the community pride chapters. Hit me up. Ultimately, in the Okanagan, there are not a lot of dedicated queer spaces, and there's not a lot of safe queer spaces to host events. And we have a lot of amazing businesses that are being allies and saying, hey, we will create this for you, close down, create these spaces. It's amazing. But ultimately, in the social media stupidity world that we live in, it's very hard to find those safe spaces online.
Right.
So I ultimately just really want to be working with more of these organizations to create more of those online, kind of filter out some of the idiocy and, like the work you're doing, even you as a queer organization I support, with Unicorns Live and the bones of, a space that can be moderated, actually not by bulk spam hitting abusive content on queer content to get it taken down. I think that's a big push for me. So if anyone knows any organizations that are looking to do this across Canada, hit me up with it, because I definitely want to make it. I grew up chronically online. I grew up chronically online. I would love a safe space for people to learn and find out a bit more about themselves and meet other people in the community online.
Obviously in Vernon and even Kelowna, like we're smaller communities, there's only so much in terms of like, because you obviously need financial resources to actually create physical spaces.
Yeah.
I think that's why we do a lot of what we do in terms of like taking over typically non-queer focused spaces and working with them, whether it's theaters, nightclubs, doing coffee shops, restaurants, whatever that case may be, or even, in Vernon, we often do stuff at the Elks Club.
Yeah.
And they've been great to work with. I know we actually at our bingo recently in Kamloops, we were talking with the owner of Night Shift.
Very cool.
And like, they're so awesome to work with. We always love being there. And she was telling me a story about how one of her security staff comes from a different ethnic background that's got a religion that's very anti-LGBT. And recently he went to her and said that, initially when they started doing our events there, he was quite against it. But over time, he's evolved to realize that he really enjoys it and that, we are no different. And like when she told me this, I'm starting to tear up, like hearing about it. Cause I'm like, those are the types of impacts we want to have.
Exactly.
And that's, what a lot of pride groups do and the groups that you're talking about working with. And like most nonprofits right now, pride's, a lot of them are struggling because running an organization from board level, there's a lot of legalities and stuff that people don't realize.
Tons.
And it's a shit ton of work because most people are doing it outside of their desks. Like outside of big groups, most don't have staff.
Nope.
In Kelowna, we're fortunate. They hire me to do a lot of the stuff because I've done it for so long for free. So it's nice, to be, to actually get paid for it because it is.
But also the work you put in doing it so long for free, it shows you are a person that can do the job and also cares about the organization. They're like,
it's a balance. Yeah.
This makes sense, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. Like when I say, X, writing this grant costs this, it might take me twice as long and sometimes it takes me a little less, but that's the give and take and why we've gotten Kelowna Pride to the point where they're in a very healthy financial position.
The grants piece too, I really think was interesting when I learned that from you, because a lot of the charity statuses that are available to a lot of organizations don't apply to pride events, pride organizations, as you've told me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me the fact that there's not one in Canada.
There's none that I know of, that are pride-focused organizations that can get charity status because of the event focus. If you had a group, I think, that was doing programming and then also ran a pride, then I think that would be different. But currently the way CRA recognizes charities. So, but I know there's a lot of change happening in that movement in terms of like, so I'm also on the board of the Central Okanagan Foundation. And actually, by the time this podcast come out, I should be the chair of the board.
Oh, congrats.
That'll be next week. As we're recording this, next week is our AGM, and it's slotted that I'm taking on that role. It's not a role I ever planned on doing. And literally this morning, I was going through my head of like what my speech is going to be at our community meeting next week. But, there's a movement in philanthropy around trust-based giving. So previously, foundations could only give to charities. So if you're a group like Kelowna Pride or Vernon Pride, you'd have to have what's called an intermediate organization. So we've used the Rotary, we've used Bridge because they all have a charity status. So they would, in essence, house the money and then pay it out based on the expenses that align to the program that we're offering. But now they're looking at ways where foundations can actually give direct to the nonprofit.
Yeah, sounds like less hoops.
Yes. There's inherent risk with that. A potential of losing charity status. So it's a complex area that we're all kind of starting to wade into. But
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's kind of just blows my mind the fact that, they're like, okay, you can work with these trusted charities, or we can have someone have to source all these grants, and there's just so many layers of doing it. And ultimately, I don't think anyone can say, oh, I think there's just too much queer support in Canada. I feel like there's just too many organizations just helping everyone that's queer. I don't think anyone, and if you can, I don't know why you're watching this podcast if you think that.
Well, and it's not even just queer organizations, it's any organization in terms of that trust-based and non-charity. But yeah, there are obviously queer organizations that have charity status because of what they offer, but it's just the pride
division of it. Yeah.
So being an LGBT entrepreneur, do you feel there's anything that is unique to being a queer entrepreneur versus, say, a heterosexual entrepreneur?
I definitely do. The biggest one for me, I think, is almost like a little bit of pressure to feel like you are a representative on behalf of the people of queerdom, and you don't just want to be, doing the best marketing or, hosting amazing events. You want to be a pillar of the community. You want to be visible. You want to be this person that you wish you had to look up to growing up in your field that didn't exist. Yeah. And if they did, they didn't tell anyone about it. So I think the idea that we need to be visible and giving back and providing, resources for our community is something that I don't think that is shared in the straight community as much. Yep. And I think it's an amazing thing. But I think that feeling of almost, I'm sure everyone can relate in the sense of, you want to be a person that people can look up to within your community. And that feeling, I think, is shared straight or gay. But the idea, I think, of the pressure is a little bit more localized to us. I don't know if that's something, unless they have a huge ego, they'd be feeling for there. But I also feel like it gives me a lot of different perspectives. Ultimately, it makes HR training a lot easier when you're like, yeah, I already have the basics down of how to respect human beings and how identities work. So we jumped through that first hurdle already there. But I think it definitely is ultimately for me not something that impacts my day-to-day work so much as is an ongoing goal for me, an ongoing effort for me, an ongoing focus to make sure that I am showing up for my community rather than this pressure that's like bogging me down. It's a good pressure. Yeah. I love pressure to a point. Then I will cry.
I guess along that same vein, have you experienced any discrimination as a business for being queer?
No, which is really lucky. We're online.
Just dealing with some of the hate on our posts.
I love them. Boost the engagement rate, please.
I know. I joke about that too. I'm like, as shitty as it is what people are saying, whatever they're going through, they need to deal with. That's really what the issue is them going through something internally, and I just obviously can't take it personally. Sometimes I provide some sassy comments.
It's good.
Not very often, but every once in a while, one will strike a nerve, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you.
Fuck you, Deborah.
Yeah. So
I feel you.
There was one today I looked at, and I'm like, you're an idiot. So I just reported it and blocked them. I'm just like,
that's it. I love the block button. That's my Taurus Gemini rising overlap there. The block button. It just like when I hit it, it's what I imagine smoking crack feels like. Yeah. Maybe cut that out. It's fine.
Imagining it. You're not
I've never. My mom's gonna watch this, but I never have. But it's what I imagine. It feels like hidden block for sure.
Do you have any kind of vision for a legacy you want to leave with your business?
Ooh, I'd say for me, and the legacy that I want to leave with Evolve is definitely being an organization that delivers exceptional next level marketing work, is actually invested in our clients. Like I think we have a lot more of a partnership than a traditional vendor relationship. Like I ride or die for RU.
Yes.
But
I feel it.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, I will. Let me know. I'll pull up in the comments. But ultimately, I think I want to be seen as someone that created a space where creative people, analytical people, all different types of people and their identities can work together to create amazing marketing and leave an impact. Not just, throw amazing work into the nebulous void that is the internet and it not mean anything. I want to be someone that was able to help organizations, someone that was able to set the standard for what good marketing looks like in the Okanagan, in the sense of not just here's what we delivered, here's the perspectives we brought in, here's the results that we generated that we can speak to, here's how we've been able to help XYZ organizations achieve this much more.
Right.
That to me is just like the coolest thing ever. And I would like to be known for that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. All right, I got my lightning round. So it's this or that. So it's just one or the other, no thinking, no explanation. Home cooked meal or dinner at a fancy restaurant?
Home cooked meal.
Multiple.
Shut up. He just laughed over there. I like having it. I don't always have time to make it, but I like it.
Well, it's whatever your
Exactly.
preference is. Multiple short vacations or one long vacation?
One long.
Mexico or Hawaii?
Mexico.
Spain or Portugal?
Portugal.
Vancouver or Victoria?
Vancouver. People in Victoria are weird, sorry. But cool.
Early riser or sleep in?
Sleep in.
Drive or fly?
Neither.
You don't like travel?
I mean, I'm scared of driving and I'm scared of flying, so yeah.
I gotta stop asking more questions. This is just supposed to be short answers. Audiobooks or real books?
Audio.
Debit or credit for your business?
Credit, honey. Credit and forget it.
Bank or credit union?
Bank.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Spotify.
Popcorn. Do you like popcorn?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was like, what about
popcorn is one of those things. It's like either you love it or you hate it. We have a popcorn machine. This is fun. So when COVID happened, we bought this bag of popcorn off the internet when everyone was scared to leave the house. We're like, this will tie us over throughout all of COVID. And it did. We thought it was a 1 kilogram bag, or maybe we just didn't perceive how big 25 kilograms is in our mind. It was literally like this big. That's a commercial fucking bag of popcorn.
We still have some. And it makes really good popcorn.
Okay. Fruit on a pizza.
Yeah.
Gross.
Pineapple.
Gross.
You think you know someone?
Right. One or two word answers on this one.
All right.
Favorite type of music?
Alt.
Favorite time of year?
Spring.
Favorite place to travel for a vacation?
Japan. It was fun.
Yeah. All right. So just a couple last final thoughts. How do you handle work-life balance and self-care as an entrepreneur?
Not great. I made a promise to myself and to Ryan where the first 2 years I'm going to be over pouring myself into the organization. So I guess my balance has been to not have any balance for a designated time frame, to which then balance will be my priority between the two, because it can't consume your life, even though you love what you do and it's, it lights you up. At the same time, you need to, and I haven't been doing this, have that time to pull away to reflect. And that's when you have your best ideas.
Right.
And right now I'm just one thing to the next, a little bit too much. And that little bit of downtime to reflect in between is where I have my best ideas, usually in the bathtub.
Yeah. I would joke mine is showering or driving.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually because my brain's doing something else. Like I'm driving, and that's
cooking.
When I was, sorry?
Cooking? Maybe while you cook?
No.
Laundry?
No.
It's like something like soft thinking, right?
Usually I'm cooking and doing laundry at the same time because they're like side by side in my place.
Efficient. She is an entrepreneur.
Multitasking.
Yes.
And then I have usually an audiobook in the background.
I love it. I feel you.
I think it's, the act of driving, especially if I'm going somewhere it's familiar, right? And the highway, even turning off now, like I can get here without GPS. So that makes my life a bit easier.
Just turn the brain off.
Yeah. Like as long as the roads are good, then it's kind of smooth sailing, and then my brain just starts going. So
you had auto drive before Tesla.
Yeah, just my brain.
Roll your eyes back in your head.
It's like, how the fuck did I just get here?
I love that.
Yeah.
I have the opposite. I'm anxious every 30 feet.
But you haven't driven as much as I have. It comes with
I don't think anyone has.
But even just in life, right? Like I started driving at 15, like we did in Saskatchewan time. And how about any tips or strategies that you've learned about building resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity? It was a lot of big words in one sentence.
I think due to the Americas, as I forget what she said, but shout out Miss America. I think the biggest thing for me that I've always told myself is, at the end of the day, how I feel about what I've done and how I feel like I've put energy out into the world is all I can really control. I can't control what others think. I can't control what happens as a result of that. I know how I can see how I've acted and how I can do better moving forward. But at the end of the day, you go home to yourself. So if you are having adversity, and you're feeling like you're rolling a boulder uphill, and at every turn, you're getting negativity. Welcome to liking anime in high school, 17-year-old Jeremy life. Like, I feel you. And every single day I felt great about myself and what I was doing because I knew who I was. And ultimately, adversity is just friction before you're flying, It's a fact of life, and don't let it bog you down.
Yeah. Any favorite books, podcasts, or mentors that have inspired you along your way?
You.
Oh,
yeah. I think one of my favorite podcasts is... I like Heavy. I don't know if you ever listened to that one. It's a podcast where, I forget his name, sorry, where he'll reconnect the people he had fallen out with in life at some point, or there was like a misunderstanding, or basically there's people that want to mend a relationship and he comes along for the ride with them. And it's very like getting to know someone's life, and you can see how so many moments can have two utterly different perspectives, or two people can have a communication breakdown. And it can lead to years, decades long, in some cases on this podcast, separations. And I like that one a lot because it just reminds me that there's always a story on the other end of what's happening in front of you. And I really like that because I always think that I'm the main character of everyone's story. So not really, but
Story of my life.
Yeah,
Of my life.
Just looking at my camera. Yeah, you had to flip it around so I couldn't watch myself in the monitor. Yeah, that's Ella's joke. I'm sorry, Ella.
She loves when people reuses her jokes. At least
Perfect.
she's getting credit for it.
There you go.
A lot of people use it and don't give her credit. They just steal it, right?
She'll cut me if I don't. I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
true.
she knows where I live. She was here for take one. Yeah.
Well, I think that's it, right? You don't know the shit other people are going through.
No.
And usually if someone's lashing out or short, it's probably not because of you. I mean, sometimes you may have done something, but...
I can be a bit of a bitch.
But a lot of times it's whatever else is going on in their life. So... I need to check myself with that sometimes too.
It's hard, and especially when everything's so fast paced.
Yeah.
Just those little moments to just slow down and say like, I wonder if I'm just being a raging cunt right now. Yeah. And then you're like, maybe, and it helps. So I like that one a lot for that. I also find it's cheesy, but my dad, huge mentor to me in my life. I think that he just is very good at having these really like impactful conversations with people. And what always blows my mind is for that person, it's a life-changing moment. For him, that's his 4th appointment of the day, and he has 4 more to go. And it's amazing to see how he is able to do that with people. And ultimately is, just something that I really would love to be able to do too, where if you can make that level of an impact on someone's entire trajectory in life from a short instance, I'm like, man, I should be doing a lot more every day for my people, but that's a huge influence there, definitely.
Love it. What advice would you give to other queer individuals who are considering becoming an entrepreneur?
I'd say the biggest advice I could give is make sure that you understand how taxes work right out of the gate. Speaking from experience, be ready to learn a lot more than you ever thought in running a business. There's tons of layers. You'll have at least 97 moments in your first year where you're like, is this going to work? Have I ruined my life? And you won't.
97 moments happen every day.
Yeah.
Right.
And but it goes back to that adversity piece too, where it's like, what did I do? What can I do better? And how do I feel about me? And at the end of the day, just act with integrity. Believe in yourself. It's cheesy, but it's true. And be willing to learn. The amount of things that I thought that I knew inside and out, that in this past 2 years I've realized there's so many more talented people that I can learn from in that is amazing. And if I were to say, well, no, I'm an expert. Well, that's how you have those older, graphic designer or web designer people. And they're like, yeah, I'm a pro. I'm like, you stopped learning in 97. You got to update. You got to iterate. And I 100%. I love learning new things, so never stop learning. Go in and be humble, work your butt off, and pay your taxes. And there's more than you think, so get help with that.
Yeah. Hire the experts.
Hire a good bookkeeper. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking when you made the comment around believe in yourself, because you and I were chatting while I was setting up just about how it's like you feel like you take 2 steps forward and then it's always like a big step back, right? Like it's that constant roller coaster of entrepreneurship. So it's never easy, but it's often very fulfilling.
It's always fulfilling. Yeah. Even on my days where I feel like I have just not done what I needed to do or didn't go the way I had planned, or there's a roadblock in the way, I always just remind myself, I'm like, it's such a cool problem to have.
Totally.
Like I'm running a business with like a bunch of awesome employees I get to work with, a bunch of awesome clients I get to work with. And right now I'm feeling frustrated because XYZ, where 2 years ago I was feeling frustrated because I felt like I had no chance to grow my career.
Right.
I felt frustrated because I felt like I was doing all the work for other people that took all the credit and got all the money.
Yeah.
Now I'm just giving the money away to other people and I'm thinking, it feels so much better.
I hear you. I hear you.
Thanks.
Any last parting thoughts you want to share?
I'm just really glad I got to come for this. And I think it's really cool that you're doing this. And ultimately, I think just if anyone out there is queer and needs some marketing and needs a really good smoking deal, I'll fit you into my schedule.
Shameless self-plug. I love it.
Well, I mean, give them a really good deal.
I know it. I'm not, that's not being critical. That's just being smart.
I mean, I'm a marketer. I have to. Yeah. evolvemarketing.ca/ no, there's no slash. You can just go there. You can figure it out. We have a good menu.
Well, and part of what I've really enjoyed is, like I said earlier, like I get to know people that I've maybe already known and get to know them better. But I always think these things, it's good. You can like steal little pieces from each other, right? Because we've all done our businesses differently, but we can learn from each other in different ways. Even if we have completely different businesses, you can still learn something from how people run their business, to how people work with their staff, to contract, like in a number of things. So
I've already learned a ton from you.
Thanks. Likewise, especially with like socials, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's what I ask myself like every day. I'm just like, they're like, we added a new blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like every 2 weeks, it's a shitty feature that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But awesome. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It was great chatting a second time. I mean, the first one we obviously didn't finish because I realized halfway through, I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, no.
Wait, is that supposed to be red?
Yeah. Trust me, I've looked at that probably
I've looked over too. I was like watching the level as I'd go. No, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks. And thanks for tuning in to another episode of Queerpreneurs Unleashed. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.